Ayman Khan here for Seconds Out. Pleasure to be joined by the one, the only. In action this weekend, Joseph Parker. Joseph, so you're looking relaxed. How you doing?
I am doing fantastic. I'm doing great, to be honest. I'm ready for this weekend. I'm ready for tomorrow. I put in some hard work, had a great camp, and I'm excited. I'm excited to go out there and put on the best display of boxing I can.
Joe, we're going to find out in a few, well, we're going to find out shortly, but just in terms of the weight, what weight are you looking to come out at this fight?
I'll probably be 17 stone and a half. I put on a little bit of weight since the last fight I had in Australia, but it's all good weight. And as long as I see the training's been great, being able to do a lot of rounds of sparring, different sparring partners, and I feel great. I feel good. I feel good going into this fight.
Is there a reason tactically to put on that weight?
I just from the last fight I had in Australia, I was like 100 and I think I was 107 kgs, and then I was working with George Lockhart in New Zealand for 10 weeks. Then we've been in England for 10 weeks, and then when I will finish off the camp here. So just been doing some great work with him in terms of weights and a lot of conditioning and just eating the right foods, and I feel like that's contributed to the weight gain.
Now, in terms of Simon Kean being the opponent, what's your scout report on him? What do you see as the dangers you have to watch out for?
I feel like the dangers of Simon Kean is he's got the height and reach over me, and also he's got power. As an Olympian, he's got the fundamentals, and he's got technique, he's got skill, and he's got that. His knockout ratio is quite high, in terms of his record. So just got to be careful. Be careful going there, and I want to dictate the pace of the fight. I want to control it, and if I can get him out of there early, I will.
Was Simon someone that you thought you would be facing in the ring at some point in your career?
I didn't really know a lot about Simon Kean before this fight was made, and so when the fight was offered to me, we took it, and then we started doing a bit of study on Simon Kean, and just seeing him in person at the press conference and seeing him in public workout. He is a big man. He's a big man, and he can move for a big guy, and he's got a lot of pop in his right hand. So it's just gonna go out there and with this fight, just practice and so put on display what I've been practicing in the gym.
You've mentioned to me, and I've obviously noted as well how relaxed you are. But do you feel the pressure in a sense of like where you are in your career, looking to climb back and get big opportunities? You can't afford any slip-ups this week.
Listen, there's going to be no slip-ups from now on. When you've had the best camp, when you've had the best preparation, and you've done everything right, and you couldn't do anything more to improve and get better, you go into a fight not relaxed, but you just go in calm. You go in calm because all the hard work's been done, and there's not much more we can do. It's just whatever happens. But I know what I can do, and I'm confident in my ability.
We saw your coach Andy get in the ring and throw a couple of jabs and some right hands. He's looking like he can get back in the ring as well too.
Listen, camp is not just for the fighters. Camp is for everyone. And so the fighters are preparing for fights, but also the trainers are in there putting in work. Not just training, but they're also putting in work in terms of punching the bag, doing the weights, doing the shadow boxing, and everyone's getting in shape at the same time. So camp life, it's a great life, because I know everyone's just focused on this big goal, but we're all using it as a way of getting in shape and just enjoying ourselves and making the most of it.
Joe, before I ask you about the main event fight, I just want to ask you about your former opponent, Joe Joyce, taking on Zhilei Zhang, and he was on the end of a defeat again against Zhilei Zhang. He did well to get up, but he didn't beat the count in the sense the referee waved it off. Were you seeing that end for Joe in that rematch before it happened?
I didn't see it going that way. I thought Zhang would have come in obviously with more confidence from the first fight, and I thought Zhang would have got the win, but I didn't see it as a stoppage win. The person that did call it before the fight there was Tyson. And then we all watched it together. It was myself, Tyson, Andy Lee, Sugar Hill, Jelena, George Lockhart. We were watching it, and I was quite surprised, but it just shows the power that Zhang possesses. And it shows that, in rematches, a lot of the times when you have a rematch, it is quite hard to come back in a rematch and get a win. A lot of cases are like that.
Does the way that fight ended potentially open up further the door for the possibility of a rematch between you two?
Listen, yeah, as long as I can take care of business tomorrow night, there's all those opportunities of taking a rematch or taking whatever fight there is. anyone that's available, anyone that's keen, anyone that wants to fight, first I got to put on a good display and then lock in the bigger fights.
I was thinking when Anthony Joshua was searching for an opponent when White fell out and Helenius was drafted in, that someone to come in looking for an opportunity, has history with him, and potentially being someone who could give a good fight to him as well and even upset the odds, is you. Were you ever approached for that fight? Or have you had any talks about being a potential opponent?
Discussions going back and forth, but when I hadn't been boxing training for 10 weeks in New Zealand, there was no way I was going to put myself in a position to go out there and look poorly. I think if the fight, if the opportunity came and I was training already in camp and doing boxing and sparring, whatever, I would have put myself in a better position. But I wasn't going to take a fight on 2 weeks' notice and go in there and not look the best I can.
Is your name in the mix for this potential third fight that he's having this year?
My name's not in the mix, no. There's other fights lined up, and there's other fights that I can have in December with some big names, but none of that will come to fruition unless I look good and perform and get a win tomorrow night.
Joe, just get your thoughts on the main event. Look, a lot of people are writing off Francis Ngannou's chances. Your team won't be. Tyson Fury won't be. You'll be taking this as a professional contest because there's a lot on the line there. Have you watched Francis's career? Do you see the many threats that he can pose to Fury at the weekend?
I think Francis is a top athlete. He's a champion in the UFC, and he's got that. Anyone that goes into fights is mentally strong, and anyone that gets into the ring. But in terms of boxing ability, I'm not quite sure where his boxing ability is, what level it's at, and you can't really gauge and you can't really get a lot from someone punching the pads or punching the bag or shadow boxing. But he does possess power, and I'm not sure if he can come into this fight and try and outbox Tyson Fury, who's faced many different styles throughout his career. I think the main thing that Francis has to do is just go out there and give it his best and chase him down. But if he tries to box, Tyson will just box his head off and get him out of there. I reckon early.
I don't know if I'm getting my wires crossed here, but there's something in my mind saying that I think when I had a chat with Kevin, your former coach, he said that Francis might have popped through the gym a couple of times and maybe did some sparring. Am I getting that right? Did Francis ever pop by?
We were doing a lot of our training and sparring in the gym in Vegas, UNLV, and Francis was coming back and forth and sparring a lot of the fighters in there. So this was back in 2017, 2018. So he has had experience in terms of sparring other fighters and working on his boxing and his craft. But I'm not sure if that, has made a big difference in his style.
Did you ever spar him?
I never sparred him. But I did see him. I saw him in the ring, but I never had the opportunity to spar him.
Finally, we'll end with a bit of a fun one. We saw John Fury getting in the mix yesterday, and he's really pitching for that fight with Mike Tyson. Mike didn't say no. Mike seemed to be up for it. Do you think we'll see those two collide?
Listen, John's been talking about it for a while, and it's not so much he respects Mike Tyson. Obviously, he named Tyson after him, but John, from being around him, he just wants to get in there and give it the best he can and be involved in a massive fight with someone that he respects. And so, listen, I hope it eventuates because it'll just be great for people to see a legend like Mike Tyson and also John Fury get into the ring and give us some action and something to watch. But you never know.
Joe, quick last one. Sorry, just mentioning there about potential things that are on the line for Fury. Usyk is landed in Riyadh. We're going to be the fight signed. Expecting it to be sealed and delivered.
Yep, I think now that the fight has been signed. And the fight has been locked in for the 23rd of December. So as long as Tyson takes care of business tomorrow night, that fight's all on. And it's a fight that everyone's been wanting to see. And it's a fight that both guys want. And time to get it on.
Leave the final word with you. What happens in your fight with Simon Kean this weekend?
I'll smash him. I've trained too hard and I've trained too long for this fight. And I'm going to go out there and put on a good display and enjoy myself and smash him.
Real pleasure speaking to you, Joe. Looking forward to the fight this weekend. Thanks for speaking to Seconds Out, sir.
Thank you very much.